Does a buyer's market mean you should lowball to sellers? It's a very good question to ask. I recently took a call from a home buyer who was interested in one of my listings. I told him all about the nice features of the home, and the buyer asked about the seller's motivation and desired dates. Everything seemed like a normal conversation. And then he asked me, would your client accept $600,000? I initially thought, are we talking about the same property? Because we're listed for $850,000. And then it occurred to me that it's possible that I'm talking to someone who time traveled to the future and he actually needs help getting enough plutonium to get his time machine working so he can go back to 2017 so he can buy that home for $600,000. Now the guy hadn't seen the home before, so I wasn't going to engage in any conversation about price. But as we continued to chat, he mentioned that he really liked this home in Metrotown that he did have a look at. He asked me to write a lowball offer for him for that property. Out of curiosity, I decided to do that. I wrote an offer for him to see what the other agent would say to me. Now to her credit, she was kind. She spoke to me like I was 5 years old and I had just learned what a house was. Now here's the thing, in the Vancouver real estate market, lowball offers almost never work out the way people hope when they're buying a house in Vancouver. Not because the sellers are greedy, not because your Vancouver realtor is secretly plotting against you, but because the math, the options, and human nature are all stacked against it. Stay tuned as we break down why the steal of the deal strategy keeps crashing into reality. Are you ready? Let's go. Hi. My name is Simon Liu and I'm your friend in real estate here in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. I have helped people make smart real estate moves across Greater Vancouver for nearly 2 decades. If you're thinking about making a move, my team and I would love to help. I invite you to send a message using the information below and let us help you find your happy home. Today's video is pure home buying tips, especially if you're a first-time buyer in Canada and wondering how far you can push in the Vancouver real estate market. We're covering 4 reasons lowball offers fail, plus one bonus reason most people will never even think about. And yes, there will be numbers, the fun kind. The kind that saves you from writing an embarrassing offer letter about your dog named Bob Barker. If you've been watching every YouTuber give a Vancouver market update and thinking a softer market means automatic discounts, this one's for you. All right, reason number 1. Everyone has a limit. Sellers are only willing to go down by so much. Think of it like this. You can negotiate a restaurant bill if the steak is overcooked. You cannot walk in, point at the menu, and say, I'll give you $12 for that tasting menu, take it or leave it, and expect the chef to cry happy tears. A seller already did the mental math before they listed what they owe in the mortgage, what it's going to cost them to move, what their real estate agent said the Vancouver real estate comps support. Real estate comps are recent sold prices of similar homes nearby. That sounds obvious, but buyers think it's like haggling for cell phone cases at the Richmond night market. There is usually a little bit of room, but in a normal deal, that room might look like a few percent, a credit, or repairs, but not 20% off just because you feel like it. All negotiations have a floor. Below that floor, it's less price is right and more like the price is firm. And Bob Barker is not coming to help you. And if you're thinking, okay, Simon, but what if the house has been sitting? Now hold that thought. Sitting is not the same as desperate. We're going to come back to that. Reason number 2. And before I get into it, I want to say that some sellers do have to sell. Divorce, job loss, probate, carrying 2 mortgages. Those files behave differently. A random lowball on a stable owner-occupied home is not the same game. Now this is the one that breaks a lot of lowball strategies, especially when people are buying a house in Vancouver and assume every listing is a fire sale. Remember the sitting house? Days in the market is a clue. It's not a surrender flag. Sellers don't have to sell. The seller can, 1, keep living there. 2, they can rent it out. 3, they can refinance if money is tight. Or 4, simply wait for the next buyer. Now that last one is my favorite. Let me give you a simple example and don't treat this like a forecast. Let's say the market is declining by 1% per month and you offer 25% below the ask. Then mathematically speaking, the seller has 25 months to find a better offer than the one you sent. So the seller doesn't really have to sell at that time. Now let's flip that around and ask, how much rent will you pay in 25 months? And let's not scoff too much at 25 months. That's a lot of time. That's longer than most people's entire house hunt, twice. Now if the offer doesn't work out, life continues for the seller. The mortgage gets paid, the kids still have a home. That's just living in Vancouver. Mortgage, kids, rain, repeat. Nobody is forced to accept a number that wrecks their next chapter. Now compare that to the buyer's energy. You're gonna have to keep renting. You're gonna spend more weekends visiting open houses. That imbalance matters when you're a home buyer and assuming every seller is more desperate than you are. If lowballing was a reliable path to a deal, every investor video on the internet would be 3 minutes long and end with a yacht. Spoiler, it is not. Even when prices soften, a lot of owners would rather hold than gift equity to a stranger with a just seeing if you're motivated text. Reason number 3, and this is my favorite because it is almost rude how logical it is. If the home was truly that cheap, it would not be sitting there like a forgotten side quest waiting for a random adventurer from the internet. The first person in line who already knows the condition of the home, the seller's timeline, the inspection red flags, and the neighborhood quirks is often the listing agent or someone they know, like an investor client or a buyer in the area. And when an agent does buy, there are disclosure rules that they must follow. Realtors have very strict rules. This point is about market logic, not a conflict of interest. So when a buyer sends an offer so low that the listing site is asking the blunt question, the seller would actually consider that price. Can I buy it myself? Now, I'm not saying every real estate agent buys every single bargain. The point is simpler. I'm saying the real estate market in Vancouver is full of trained eyes. A screamingly good deal does not hang around hoping a stranger on Facebook Marketplace finds it first. That's just not how any of this works. And look, I've written aggressive offers when the data supported it. Aggressive and delusional are neighbors, but they do not share a driveway. Reason number 4. It's math time. I know you're excited, so gather around. In 2025, Greater Vancouver had about 23,800 residential sales. That is the whole pizza. Detached, townhomes, condos, the pineapple that shouldn't be there. And that was actually a slow year. Lowest sales level in roughly 2 decades. Now take the 23,800 and ask, what percentage closed because a buyer lowballed hard and the seller folded like a cheap lawn chair? A thin slice, very thin. In a year like that, hard lowballs are the leftover crust of the Canadian housing market, not a reliable path through Vancouver real estate. Deals usually look like this. List for 1.2, maybe sell for 1.15 after some negotiations. It's rarely list for 1.2, offer 900, everybody high fives. So even if lowballs work sometimes, the base rate is brutal. You're not hunting a strategy. You're hunting a lottery ticket that also needs a seller's life circumstances, the property condition, the days in the market, the agent's advice to all line up on the same Tuesday. Now, do weird deals happen? Yes. Building a plan around a weird deal is how you stay renting while you wait for that lightning. In a moment, we'll dig deeper into what actually works, because this is where people get confused, so stick around. This is the bonus reason, and this is the part that nobody builds into their home offer strategy. What would happen if the seller just rejected your offer, but instead of saying no to the price, they just relisted the home at the offered price? Because your number just told them that at least one buyer was willing to put it on paper. Rather than take you on one-on-one, they can test that number against the whole market. Have you seen this before? A home you know is worth about $1 million because all the other homes around it are listed and sold for around the same price. It just got listed for $799,000. Oh, and offers will be presented next Tuesday at 5 p.m. That's an offer date. Everyone submits by a deadline and the seller compares. An indication the seller expects a bidding war. So now, instead of the $1 million crowd coming to see the home, you have people from the $900,000 crowd and the $800,000 crowd interested too. You might even find a few more people from the $600,000 time machine from the past who thought, hey, they dropped the price by 200 grand. They must be desperate. Maybe, just maybe, I can lowball them from here. So now you have a bigger pool of buyers vying for the same property. Best case for them, worst case for you. Multiple buyers show up and push the price back up. In the other case, nothing happens and they still may not call you back first. So your lowball offer didn't get you a deal in Vancouver real estate. It got you an own goal. Now, if this is helping you rethink buying a house in Vancouver, subscribe and drop your target area in the comments. Burnaby, Coquitlam, Moody, Surrey, I'll pull up some deals for you. So what might work? Notice I said might. The seller still doesn't have to sell, but they can be convinced to listen. So 1, your offer price should be from comps, not feelings. Pull recent solds on the same street or building, same bedroom count, similar condition, you gotta start there. Feelings are great for choosing paint colors. It's less great for choosing offer prices. Number 2, use inspection and financing structure as your leverage. A clean, strong subject package can beat a higher, flaky offer any day. Certainty is currency. Number 3, ask what would make the seller say yes besides the price. For example, flexible completion so they can find a place to buy, or a bigger deposit so the offer feels real. 4, be aggressive when the data and evidence says so. Vacant, stale, clear motivation, condition issues, repeated reductions. That's a strategy. Random underwater offers are not. Number 5, be kind. I have seen sellers refuse to sell to a buyer simply because they didn't like them. For example, presenting the offer like the home had been occupied by squatting raccoons for the last 25 years can result in some hurt feelings. I've also seen sellers give a discount to people who showed compassion and just try to do their best. Real estate is still a people business. Shocking, I know. Good home buying tips are boring on purpose because boring saves money. If you want a Vancouver realtor who will stress test a number before you submit, that's literally the job. My team and I do this across Greater Vancouver every week. So quick recap before you go write an offer that makes history for the wrong reasons. 1, sellers have a floor. 2, sellers also have options, including not selling. 3. If it were truly that cheap, professionals close to the file would already be interested. 4. Out of roughly 23,800 sales a year around here, successful hard lowballs are a tiny slice of a tiny slice. 5. A rejected lowball can turn into the seller's new list price in a bidding war that you help create. Lowball offers don't fail because the universe hates bargains. They fail because Vancouver real estate is still a human negotiation between people with choices. And if you're interested, and if you're in the market for a home that fits your budget, your first step is to email me at info@happyhomesvancouver.com or send a text message to 778-688-6838. And let's help you get settled into your happy home. If you found this video helpful and want to see more of it, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel or share with a friend so that you can help us help more people. Again, my name is Simon Liu, here to serve you in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.